This is a mantra that has been a very interesting mantra, I think, for each one of us. And some of you are acquainted with the mantra. But I wanted to go over it with you today because it'll really be the basis of our teaching here today. I've been trying to put together something that we would be able to present in such a way that gives a kind of a nice comprehensive understanding and kind of a short, brief summary of what we think, what we feel. So I have this first stanza, and then we'll say the second one together in just a moment. But this is the teaching I'd like to give prior to the talk for this month. So when you look at the first line, I am an eternal being. You might want to say I am an eternal soul of light and love. So if you look down at the bottom, I define the words light and love. By light, what I mean is the illumination. It's the knowing. It's the living presence of an inner awareness. There's a light within each one of us. There's a knowing and illumination. And that's what the light is. It's not something in your head. It's really something within your heart space. It's a feeling within yourself. And then the word love is simply what I would suggest is it's the movement of the light. Whenever you're doing anything from your heart space, whenever you're doing anything from that inner presence, that's the expression of love. What fills up your heart has a tendency to overflow or to effervesce into others. Just a wonderful way of looking at things, that we are eternal beings of light, of knowing, and of love, expression. And then the word thus. I put the word thus in there because it's kind of like, well, if you are a being of light and love, then the following will occur. If you're not a being of light and love, the following will not occur. So the presumption is that when you're in that awareness of light and love, and if you look down at the bottom again under definitions, the word thus, light and love are the energies of your life which your soul knows. Maybe your soul won't know them, at least for a while. But as your soul knows them, you realize that they're the energies within you that are really able to be brought forth, that we can have the illumination, and we can allow that illumination to be expressed as love. If that's the case, I am an eternal being of light and love, and thus my soul knows those energies, then only good can come to me, and only good can come from me. So that regardless of the situations you're in, whatever's occurring, if you're there, if you're involved with it, then it's meant to be. And you're there either to receive or to give. But to truly understand that only good can come to me, and to understand that whatever is occurring is always occurring for our benefit. This is such a wonderful, wonderful teaching. No matter what is occurring, it's occurring for our benefit. More and more, better things are occurring for our benefit. So we're very happy about that. But what even seems to be a little difficult in many ways is still occurring for our benefit. And then the last phrase, only good can come from me. And I think that's where each one of us is really, truly excelling in, that we have that presence within us, and only good is coming from us. And to feel that you're an instrument of goodness is just the most wonderful thing of all. Just to know that there's a goodness flowing not only into you, but out from you. So what I would suggest is that this little teaching is kind of like a summary of what we're really about. We are eternal beings of light and love. Thus, only good can come to us. Only good can come from us. So I thought we might just say maybe that second stanza together. We are eternal beings of light and love. Thus, only good can come to us, and only good can come from us. I hope you feel that. I think that's the truth of life, and as we begin to live this truth, it just makes such a difference in the way that we present ourselves. Any comments you'd like to make on that at all? And again, we thank Nisi for putting this into a nice little framework, and you might want to put it onto a little wall plaque or something along the way. It's just very, very nice. Okay, just wanted to share all those things with you. With that in mind, let me then share with you the teaching that we'd like to have today. It's been a joy to kind of share with you the 6 monthly teachings that we have had on the nature of the soul in the previous 6 months. And I think for many of us now, we are ready to go forward to really create our futures from that soul self that is really at the very center of who we are. We know that we have an inner presence. The soul is speaking to us from within. And what I would suggest is the soul self has not only become your light, but I would probably suggest also it has become a light for others. That what is coming into you, you are emanating and assisting others to grow in as well. It has not only illumined your own personal life, but I would just suggest it's illuminating all of our lives, and especially it's illuminating on what we're creating on a daily basis. That's the key. So what I'd like to do in this particular talk, moving into a new series in a sense, is to present the talk entitled My Greatest Achievement. What do you think is your greatest achievement, and how does it fit into your present life? So let me suggest a few things. So let's begin with a look back in your own personal life, and if someone were to ask you, what do you think is your greatest achievement? It's a very, very interesting question. My presumption is probably all of us would think about a specific greatest achievement, something personal in our lives that has been really extremely worthwhile. For example, you might say that I've been a good parent, and I think all of you here have been good parents, just without a doubt. Or, for example, maybe that you performed your work extremely well, and the things that you were doing with others, you served them in a great capacity. Or maybe you've helped others in your family or in society, coaching, whatever it might be. So while all of these personal accomplishments have been important, what I would suggest to you is that your greatest achievement has really been a common experience. Your greatest achievement has really been a common experience. I believe that each one of us has moved from seeing ourselves as a limited human being to seeing ourselves as an eternal creative soul. And that what has been our greatest achievement, namely moving beyond seeing ourselves simply as a limited human to seeing ourselves as an eternal soul, is also our greatest common achievement. I want to explain that and see what we can do with it. So let me do the best I can. First, an incident that was kind of interesting, and then a few other ideas. A few weeks ago, I was discussing the effects of meditation with a group of drug and alcohol addicts at our local rehabilitation clinic. An older gentleman was there, and he said, he was sitting right in front of me, he said, "I'd give anything if you could turn off the circus going on in my mind." Just a very interesting comment. He just said, "I'd give anything if you get rid of this circus that is going on in my head." Well, we all know what that means, the circus that goes around in your head. Probably in many ways, in a sense, what this gentleman was kind of articulating was some of the teachings of Rene Descartes, kind of a 17th century philosopher. Descartes said, you might remember these words, cogito ergo sum. If you don't remember those words, you probably remember these words, I think, therefore I am. Now, may I say at the very beginning, the word Descartes used, the word cogito, does not mean simply thinking. What the word itself means in many different ways, it could be anything from feeling to being aware. It is anything that kind of like is a compilation of a psychological presence of life. Anything going on in your psyche, from doubting, thinking, etc. In fact, for Descartes, what he meant was to say, I think, therefore I am. He was concerned about doubting and perhaps being mistaken about something in life. So for Descartes, he said, even if I'm mistaken, even if I doubt, well, I'm still existing. Regardless of what he meant, when you start translating it to contemporary society, the word cogito in Western society has really, in a sense, been very helpful to us, because when you translate the word cogito as thinking, it helped us then to raise the greatest question, I think, that is the basis of our greatest achievement. The question was, how do I get out of my mind? How do I get beyond the circus that goes on in my mind? As the gentleman at the clinic said, how do I get through this merry-go-round of thoughts that come in and whirl around again and again and again? So what I want to suggest to you is that that word thinking at least made us think about how we can get beyond thought. So let me suggest a couple of things. To be able to get to our greatest achievement, then we have to be able to do two things. The first thing I would want to suggest is that we have to recognize who we are not, because the who we are not has so many things involved with it. It's a very, very complicated thing. It's so easy to identify with who you are not. When you identify with who you are not, then it's really hard to identify with who you are. So let's talk about some of those things that we are not and see if in fact we can kind of uncomplicate a rather complicated situation. For example, you are not your life circumstances. We have life circumstances. We have an awful lot of life circumstances. We have families. We have jobs. Whether you're single, whether you're married, where you live, what you do, your life circumstances comprise so much of your life. You kind of think, well, maybe my life circumstances are my life. And certainly the people with the mass shootings in El Paso and Dayton, you kind of realize that not only they personally, but the people in their community feel like their life circumstances are so heavy upon them. Well, what I'd like to suggest to you is you have life circumstances, but you are not your life circumstances. You give meaning to your life circumstances, but you are not your life circumstances. It's even a little more complicated. You have a body, but you are not your body. What do you mean, you are not your body? And particularly at times when it seems like, well, you are a body. So when you're hungry, if you're hurting, or if you're just so tired you have to go to sleep, well, it just seems like you're your body. So it's a very important thing to understand the fact that while you have a body, your body is also not you. You're not your life circumstances. You are not your body. I'm talking about your greatest achievement that is beyond simply life circumstances in your body. Well, I suppose now you're going to say you're not your thoughts and your emotions. That's right. You are not your thoughts, and you are not your emotions. You have thoughts, and you have a lot of emotions, but you are not your thoughts and your emotions. In fact, oftentimes your thoughts and emotions get you in trouble. They're the things, in a sense, that cause more problems. So oftentimes we have to get beyond the thoughts and the emotions. So what I would like to suggest to you is that each one of us has that something within us that is very, very important. And what I suggest simply is this, that there is something greater within you to guide you. And that which is greater within you to guide you is not only your greatest personal achievement, but it's also our common achievement. You better explain, Vince, and it better be good. I will, and it will. The mind is a very good instrument to help you navigate in the everyday world. It helps you put food on the table, helps you to put oil in the car, and helps you to take care of all of the other tasks of life. However, what becomes extremely important is that the mind is rather limited when you have to ask other questions in life, such as, well, what kind of person do I want to be? How will I treat others in life? Or how will I make my big decisions in life? In these areas, the mind is inept. Or maybe I shouldn't say inept. The mind is kind of like, in a sense, it will give you possibilities, but it will never tell you which possibility to choose. The mind can say, well, you could do this, or you could do that. The mind might say, well, why don't you try this? But then on the other hand, it might say, well, you could try that as well. So one of the great difficulties of the mind is it will give you a lot of choices, but it will never help you to make the right choice for you. In fact, what often happens is that the mind sabotages its own particular suggestions. And usually the way the mind sabotages its own particular suggestions, the mind will say, what if? Well, if I do that, what if the other thing comes into play? So whenever the mind says, what if, what if, what if, you can see the limitations of the mind. But that question, what if, and the mind not being able to settle that question, again, helps each one of us to see that our greatest achievement, I would suggest to you, is that we have been able to bypass the mind as our guide. I sincerely believe this. I believe that we've been able to bypass the mind as our guide. And as I explain this, hopefully, you'll be able to see that what you've been able to do in your personal life is also something that is common to all of us. Let me again try to explain further. Our greatest achievement is that we've been able to bypass the mind as our guide in life. You have been able to go beyond your thinking mind as your guide. My opinion would be that our greatest achievement is that each one of us has been able to understand the presence of the internal guide, that we have a soul within us that is our guide in life. Your soul, your inner presence, is that unique part of you that gives you guidance and direction in life. What I would suggest to you is that your soul has become your light. It has become an illumination. There is a knowing within you, and this inner presence is now guiding you in life. You've been able to bypass the mind and to know something within you. That's why we call it the light. There's an illumination within you. There's a presence within you. And this presence within you, it's not just that it helps us solve the bigger questions of life, but the presence within you now has become the way we live every day. It helps us in our everyday situations so that only good can come to you and only good can come from you. There's a presence within you that has now come to know this. What I would suggest is that this presence within you is your greatest achievement. And I believe that it's your greatest achievement because you have changed your sense of self. There's a different self that is within you. It's not the old little egoic self. There's a different sense of self. You are the soul self. You are that light within you, that presence. And that presence within you is now giving direction to your life. You've changed your sense of self. I want you to know I've changed my sense of self. And I think each one of us is changing our own sense of self. Which then leads me to just one other point. This is a very important thing for us to understand, and I hope it gives a guidance to you in your life as it is to mine. What you have achieved in overcoming the mind because you have a new sense of self is something that other people have achieved as well. So that the sense of self you now have, of the soul self, it's now kind of like a common experience. In other words, we have become what I would suggest to you a family of souls. A family of souls. There is something within you, there is something within each one of us that is common to all of us. We have ceased being simply distinct personalities, and we're much more now a family of souls, where we feel that oneness is just the most important thing we can often possibly do in life. Coming together with an inclusive sense of oneness. And we can do this because we feel that there is a common center within each one of us. I believe our movement to realize that there is a common center within us that is now more and more common to all of us, despite appearances to the contrary at times, might I say. I believe this is our greatest personal achievement. It's a common achievement of being a family of souls. This is pretty big stuff. So I encourage you within your own life that you might maybe see yourself this way, that you might be able to see that what is important to you is not just what is important to you, but what is important to all of us. And we begin to feel comfortable that because we have a common center, we can assist people in their direction in life as well. Let me get back to that gentleman at the clinic. How do you stop this circus going around in your head? So at the end of the meditation, it was really pretty simple in a sense. He's sitting there, and I give him credit because he was willing to do this. He sat there and he was stunned. He was just stunned. He said, gosh, I've never been this peaceful in my life. The circus has stopped. This really works. And then the great line, I think I'll do it again. It's amazing. It's amazing. When the circus stops, the presence comes forward and unites us to everyone. I really think that's what we're about. Our greatest personal achievement is a common achievement of being a family of souls. Hope that speaks to you. It speaks to me a lot, and that's our goal, and to bring this kindness, this goodness, as heaven on earth into our manifestations. So with that in mind, let me take you into meditation. As we begin our meditation today, let us now frame our meditation and really focus on that notion, our greatest personal achievement. And what I would just suggest to you is that while there are many in our lives, many wonderful things we've achieved, perhaps the biggest one is your own change in your sense of self, is what you have become. Let us set this as a meditation focus and see how we can develop it here this morning. Let's begin as we are wont to do by simply being attentive to our breath, breathing in and breathing out, and I'll come to guide you shortly. And just to help you focus, as you inhale, just say to yourself the word in. When you exhale, say to yourself the word out. In and out, your natural breathing rhythm. If something comes up, just let it pass and just refocus. Focus on your natural breathing rhythm. Please continue. Let me give you one more set of guide words. On the in-breath, just saying to yourself the word calm. On the out-breath, the word flow. Breathe in calm, exhale flow. Stay focused. If a thought comes in, just let it pass. Calm, flow. Please continue. And let me just suggest now that you simply feel the calmness, just feel the peace. Just kind of noticing that place within you that just feels calmer. It does feel more peaceful. Just notice that. And I'll ask you to do just one more thing. Again, just place your hand over your heart-lung area. And when you inhale, just feel the breath coming in. Your lungs will expand. The movement will be subtle but noticeable. And when your lungs empty, when you exhale, again the movement will be subtle but noticeable. Just feel the in and the out. Feel the rhythm of your breathing. Concentrate, nothing forced. Please continue. You may place your hand back on your lap. And then I'm going to ask you to notice two things. The first one, notice how much more peaceful that you truly are. You're in the soul space. You're in that peaceful place. It's the inner you. Would you simply feel this inner you, your soul self? And would you notice that there is a presence to it? There's an I here. This is me. This is me. There's an illumination. There's a presence. Just come to know that presence. Focus on it. Feel yourself as you. You are no longer thinking, but there's a clear presence within you. I know this me. this me is becoming your all the time me. You've changed. You've changed from good to much better. You've changed. This, I suggest, is your greatest achievement. You have become your best. You've become your best. Your good has not only become better, but your better has now become your best. You are a being of light and love. Thus, only good can come to you, and only good can come from you. Let us now close the meditation in just a very enjoyable and happy way, knowing that our greatest achievement is one that others have also achieved. We too have changed our sense of self into that universal spirit. Let me ask that we first of all bring that energy right into this room right now, and let this energy swirl around each one of us here. Just feel the energy filling the room and moving around each one of us, loving us and caring for us. And let us now take that energy and bring it into ourselves filling every part of our body from head to toe. Just feel good. Feel that energy moving through you, filling you up in every place. Your thoughts, your emotions, your physical body. Just feel good about feeling good. And lastly now, just when you're ready, with a smile on your face, just gently breathe your eyes open and allow your goodness to shine through. Let me thank those of you on YouTube who have joined us today. Just nice to be with you. The good in me sees the good in you. We are beautiful beings of light and love. May the good only come to us, and the very same may come from us. Namaste.